Hello again, everybody. It's Takedown. We cover the sport coast to coast, border to border, and all the ships at sea. We stopped this week in Anchorage, Alaska, and we have a gold medalist to celebrate. Adeline Gray joins us. She captured her second gold medal, defeating Brazil's Aline da Silva 2-1. It was Thursday of the 2014 World Wrestling Championships in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. Adeline, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Are you? Is the second gold medal more special than the first, or is it about the same, or what can you say
It
about the
actually is a
second
little
gold
more
medal?
special. There's a very few people, very small group of women who have won two medals. So I am now among those great women.
You truly are, and you did it in great style, albeit a slim margin, 2-1. That had to be have Coach Steiner a little on the edge of his seat there.
Yeah, him and my dad were a little nervous my whole tournament. I kept matches a little close and pretty exciting. So they were sweating through most of the tournament.
At 23 years old, if we can take folks back just a little bit and tell us how you got involved in wrestling. How old were you at the beginning?
6 years old.
6 years old, and then you wrestled all the way through Bear Creek High School. When did you start international competition?
I was 16 and I got invited to come up to the training center to train at a camp, and then they invited me to go to a Sweden tour in Klippan, which is actually an event I still compete in. And I won that event, and from there I tried out for the junior world team, made my first junior world team in 2008, won the junior world championships that year, and then the following year I tried out for the junior and senior world team and made my first senior world team and placed fifth in the world that year.
We go back to 2012, and you won gold. That was your first gold medal at 67 kilos, preceded by bronze in 2011, and then again in 2013, repeating that 67 kilos. 75 seems to fit you better. You seem to be very strong at 75 kilos. Can you talk about that?
I'm not cutting weight anymore, which is a nice thing. I get to eat whatever I want, and it's kind of helped my. I bet a lot of wrestlers can attest to this, that wrestler mentality of like, oh, I have to lose just a kilo, but then you start overeating, and all of a sudden you have to lose a kilo and a half before you're even start cutting weight. And so now that I have that freedom of being able to have a better relationship with food, I don't find myself overeating, and I don't find myself craving some of those bad foods that I just kind of ate just because I knew that my body was going to be starving coming up into the next competition. So I feel a lot healthier at this weight just because my relationship with food is better, and I'm able to just focus on wrestling and lifting and just getting stronger and protecting my body at what it is.
Interestingly enough, you call it your relationship with food. There is a mental aspect to cutting weight, and in a lot of cases, it's deprivation of things that you enjoy eating, or that you're comfortable eating, that you digest well, that works well physically for you. It's an interesting word, relationship with food. Can you talk about that?
I work with a sports nutritionist, and she talks a lot about that concept because wrestlers do have a different view on what weight cutting is and how they view food, and it ends up being a lot of binging and eating and then starving yourself. And I was an excellent weight cutter. I went down to 63 kilos for the Olympic year and the year previous to qualify for that Olympic spot, and so that was about a 30-pound drop for me. And it takes a lot of discipline and a lot of hard work to just mentally sit down and cut weight, and to understand that you have to limit what you're eating and limit what you're putting in your body and still be able to stay healthy enough to compete and train. And now it's just kind of adjusting that. So it's a little bit more like standard athletes, where they're just making sure they're not putting too much sugar in their body to monitor the inflammation that's happening in their joints. And like what you said, just putting good food that your body feels great with.
We're talking with Adeline Gray. She won her second gold medal in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, at the 2014 World Wrestling Championships at the Gymnastics Palace. How was the experience traveling there and then acclimating? Because let's face it, that part for me would be an absolute nightmare.
It was so far. I mean, I don't think people understand how long it took to get there. My poor father, it was like a 45-hour trip with layovers and everything, and there's just not an easy way to get to Uzbekistan. And so we actually flew over about 2 weeks before the World Championships and went to Rome for our acclimation camp, and that still was a 3-hour time difference from Tashkent. So we left at like 5 a.m. from Rome and then flew to Frankfurt and then flew to Tashkent. And so we didn't get into Tashkent till about 9 p.m. And so it was a full day of traveling, even though we were already over the ocean. So it was still a very long trip, but adjusting is part of our job. I mean, that is the reason we go and train in so many international competitions and throughout the year. So we understand how to adjust our bodies, and that's what makes us professionals, is that is part of our job.
This is a professional endeavor on your part, and on behalf of the rest of the wrestling community, I will say that's how we view what you, the rest of the girls, and the guys on the individual teams that make up Team USA. That's how we view it. You all are very well spoken and represent the sport so well, and you do it in defeat and when you win. And for me, balancing those two things out, not that you're ever looking for a balance necessarily between winning and losing, but there's a way to do it the right way. And I've seen you do it the right way each and every time. Who is your best example of how to do this, how to attack this sport from a publicity standpoint and obviously competition is something else, but you represent it well. Who has taught you?
Thank you, first of all, for saying that. The women do try to have a higher standard when it comes to us representing our country, and we take a lot of pride in that. And Terry Steiner is really the person I would have to say attributes to a lot of those great qualities, because he truly makes us feel like that. He makes us feel like we have some pressure on our shoulders to represent our country well and to represent ourselves as females well, and just more than just going out there and playing a sport. It's being ambassadors for this country. It's going over there and representing more than what you are. I'm representing each American that ever goes overseas, and it's an amazing feeling. And just to know that I do that well, and I hope I continue to represent my country well.
You have a target on your back based on your performance over Adeline da Silva and the balance of the matches you competed in. Is that a comfortable place for you to be? I understand that you are the best girl in the world. It's got to be a tremendous feeling in and of itself, but now you are a target. Everybody's going to be looking at it. Everybody's going to be shooting for you.
It's a position I've been in before, and wrestling has its wins and losses, and it's just about winning those matches when they matter. And I think that's really what it's going to come down to on whether or not I am a true champion, is winning when it counts. And I've proven that in the past, and I'm very consistent when it comes to winning those big matches when they need to be won. And I plan on doing that in this upcoming few years. So it's not an uncomfortable position for me to be in. I prefer to have myself be the underdog, but that can just be a switch mental mindset.
World champ Adeline Gray joins us in a conversation from her home in Anchorage, Alaska. We're talking about this. We'll break down the match just a little bit. You scored early, connecting on a single leg attack on da Silva. She tried to respond but didn't. And basically the points you scored, the 2 points you scored, were all the points it took. We talked a little bit about how Terry Steiner perhaps was squirming in the corner just a little bit. But how do you play it safe in a situation like that when you're battling literally the best in the world?
So with Aline, the Brazilian girl, she is a thrower. She has a judo background, and I've wrestled her in practices a lot. And she's one of those people who makes you feel safe when you get in on a shot. And so you feel like you could just drive right through her and get the single leg and get the takedown. But she's setting you up for something. It almost is, there's a certain reaction that people give you when you take a shot, a sprawl or a pressure, and she doesn't give that same pressure. And because she's getting ready to load you and throw you on your head. So for me, I knew I needed one solid attack to get up by a couple points, and I was hoping to open up a little bit more if I did see more takedowns. And I think in the future and in the past, I have been able to open up on her legs and really attack and take it to her. But this match, it didn't matter if the score was 2-0 or 8-0. She was only one toss away from putting me on my head and possibly pinning me. And I was the better wrestler out there on that mat. And no one's ever going to look back and be like, oh, you only won a world championship by 1 point. You're only a semi-world champion. Like, no, the goal is there's a game. I played it well, and I am the world champion.
I like that. Yeah, well, you only won by 1 point. Okay, and your point is? Adeline, you're a very gracious champion. I've seen you hug your opponents after wins and losses. We talked a little bit about that, and I think it's elemental class, really, and you display a lot of class. You join with this win. You join a very rarefied group of women who have done just that. I think you're the fourth to win at least 4 medals at the World Championships. Christy Morano, Shannon Williams, and Trish Saunders. What does that mean to you?
To be among the greats is unbelievable. I mean, I still get goosebumps when I'm in the same room as Cael Sanderson, and when Trisha Saunders or Sarah McMahon send me a message on Facebook saying like, hey, congrats on your nice competition or your great takedown that you had against the Chinese girl at Worlds. I mean, things like that are still just so important to me, and those role models mean a lot. So to be among them is really humbling. It just is an amazing testament that hard work can really pay off, and if you can stick to your goals and just keep pushing it, dreams can come true, which is awesome. I love my life and I love what I'm doing, and couldn't see myself doing anything else right now.
Almost like a Disney movie, isn't it? Dreams can come.
I hope one day.
You have that look that literally can become the face of women's wrestling in the country, but you also back it up with stellar performance. You train very, very hard. You're not afraid to travel to train or travel to compete. It puts a tremendous toll on yourself, personal relationships, family events. How do you balance it all?
It is a balance, and I'm actually lucky enough to have my family pretty close to where I train. They live just under 2 hours away from me, and I get to see them quite often. My little sister goes to the Air Force Academy and is only 30 minutes away. My other sister is moving down, and that support system is just amazing. They pick me up from when I'm crumbling so often, and I don't think I can thank them enough for just the amazing support system that I have, and them helping me balance things. I mean, they help keep me focused and being like, oh no, I want to come home this weekend. They're like, should you really? They're like, you saw us last weekend. We haven't changed. And so they help me keep my mind right. And when I do need a break, they take me away and just kind of cheer me up. And it's amazing how infectious their joy and their laughter can be in changing your whole training perspective. And, it can get a little monotonous training twice a day, every day in that Iowa style type of room. And it has to be a good relationship with your coach to be able to tell him what you need and to alter your training style. And then also, and that's physically and mentally. And I think that's a piece that people kind of forget about, because you can be the best well-trained body in the world, but if you don't want to go out there and win, that mental aspect really is going to be what takes you to that top of that podium.
Adeline Gray, our guest, world champion. The ultimate goal, I would imagine, for you would be 2016 in the Olympic Games. And again, you mentioned the psychological or the psychology of it all. That has to be your target, or is it?
Absolutely. I mean, that's why we're here. Terry Steiner said it the first day that we came in, that we're here to win medals and we're here to win Olympic gold medals. And there's never been an Olympic gold medalist for the USA, for the women's team. And I hope to be that first one. I mean, we have a couple girls on our team right now that could be there. And I hope we bring home that Olympic team title, which would be amazing, because we have quality girls on our team. And I can't wait for this Olympic cycle. We're going to do some damage on the world.
Who are your greatest nemesis? If there are, I mean, there's got to be people you look forward to competing against because you know that you perhaps have a great opportunity to beat them given past performances or comparative styles. But are there people you look at, or would you rather not identify them?
No, it's pretty blatant if you just look at the facts. Japan by far has a secret sauce and a special recipe. I don't know what it is, but we're trying to figure it out. They won 3 out of the 4 Olympic gold medals at the 2020 or 2012 London Games, and it's amazing. They go out there and they dominate, and it's in their culture. It's in just the way they move, and they have girls that have legacies that are well beyond the quality that is out there right now. And so it's amazing to see them perform, and we're nipping at their heels. And we hired an assistant coach, Seiko, and she really has helped just kind of open our eyes to a new world and a new work ethic and a different way to train, which is very important. And I think it's just going to take us a little bit longer working with her, because she's amazing. Her working out in the room with us is unbelievable. She is a true athlete. She is a true wrestler. I mean, from inside out, she is a wonderful person, and I can't wait to keep rolling around with her. She's taught us a lot, and she's going to teach us a lot more before those 2012 games and lessen that gap.
All right, so if I'm a world champion, Olympic gold medalist, or insert name of tournament won here, I'm wearing that gold medal around my neck for several days. Where is yours?
Mine's been sitting on my kitchen table, just kind of standing there. My boyfriend walked by it the other day. He's like, I feel like we should hang it up or something. He's like, it's weird just having it sit there. I'm
so
like,
it's
no,
in your kitchen.
I need to.
Right where you are right now.
Right now, yeah.
Can you go get it?
Yeah, it's right here.
Oh, wait a minute. There it is right there, folks. The World Championship medal, the gold medal, and beautiful ribbon that it hangs from. And the female style weight category, 75 kilos, Tashkent, Uzbekistan, 2014. Is it heavy?
It is. It's a little thicker than our last year's medal, but I am a little disappointed. My mom's going to get mad at me that I mentioned this, but they didn't give us a belt this year. And usually World Championships also comes with a belt. And so I don't know if this is real gold and the whole thing, I can hawk it on the black market, or if I should call them up and ask for a belt. But then Iris Smith and Clarissa Chun told me that if you don't get a belt, you're supposed to get a tiara. So that made me even more upset, because I didn't get a tiara or a belt.
Well, perhaps you deserve both. I won't be seeing this medal or any of your other medals on Pawn Stars in Las Vegas, will I?
No, you won't. They sit in my room, and I bring them to the hospital when I go visit kids, and they love them. The kids love to put them on and take pictures with them. It's really cute.
How did wrestling get so lucky to have Adeline Gray? I mean, I know of your visits to hospitals. I know of the teaching you do and mentoring you do of young girls. The sport of wrestling is in good hands, I feel, here in the U.S. and around the world, really. Women's wrestling is growing. Are you happy with where women's wrestling is today compared to where it was when you started?
It's getting there. I definitely think we have a lot of minds to still convince, and a lot of people to just draw to the sport. It is one of the fastest growing sports right now, and it's a great sport to be in. I mean, you say that wrestling's lucky to have me, but I'm lucky to have wrestling. It completely changed my life, and the family is the wrestling community is absolutely amazing. And my grandfather just passed away in a terrible car accident, and the community that was around me was able to really step up and help support me. And it happened right before it happened a day before I was supposed to leave for the Grand Prix in Azerbaijan. And it was a very difficult time for my family. And I have a very strong family when it comes to those situations. And it's unfortunate that something like that has to happen to see those strengths come out. But my personal family and the wrestling community really were what got me through and able to focus on wrestling and compete and really just make my grandpa proud throughout these next couple competitions.
It seems like, well, you have wrestling, we have you, and we're very fortunate indeed. Adeline, thank you for the time today. In closing, I'm sure that there are some folks you'd like to recognize and perhaps give some credit and thanks to. Who would they be?
Definitely my parents and my sisters. I mean, they really have been the biggest support system for me and getting me just to stay positive. And then my coaches, I mean, Aaron Tomio and Terry Steiner have really sat down with me and helped adjust my training style to fit my body and what I need. And I felt great at World Championships, and I can't wait to go into the next this next World Championships and qualify my weight class for the Olympics, and then go on and do something that hasn't been done here in the U.S. So I'm looking forward to that Olympic title.
Looking forward to it indeed. She is Adeline Gray. She had her opportunity and grabbed it. Second gold medal, defeating Brazil's Adeline da Silva 2-1 Thursday of last week, 2014 World Wrestling Championships in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. She's been our guest today from live from Alaska on this Skype interview brought to you in part by our friends at O4 Water. Don't hydrate the hustle, hydrate the muscle. I think that's more appropriate. She is obviously taking care of herself and competing at the top of her game, and we're looking forward to the next competition where she'll represent Team USA. Adeline, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.